Hello, 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 and welcome back to the Foreclosure Deals Coach podcast. I am your host and Foreclosure Deals Coach, Donnie Corum, and this is the show where we discuss how to find, figure, fund, fix, and flip a foreclosure deal. The foreclosure market is amping up. I told you it was going to happen, and now it's happening. We got a lot to discuss on today's show. Stay tuned. You're in for a treat. Hello, 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 and welcome back to the Foreclosure Deals Coach podcast. I am your host, Donnie Corum. Once again, this is the show where we discuss how investors just like you can find, figure, fund, fix, and flip a foreclosure deal anywhere in the country, but we focus largely on the Arizona and Colorado markets, but we're expanding all over right now and can get you into a deal wherever you happen to be located. Hey, it's been a rough couple of days. Obviously, we'd be remiss to not mention the Charlie Kirk situation. Such a loss to our country overall, to his family, and just, to the American way in a lot of ways. So my condolences. I know a lot of people are struggling with this right now. I'm definitely dealing with this myself. It's tough when somebody's trying to make some good out there to see this happen. And obviously a big loss, just our big loss to the country today with Charlie Kirk. Also, it's September 11th, and we don't want to open this on a negative note, but we should never forget the people whose lives were impacted. It seems like so long ago, September 11th, and the families that were affected on that. So honestly, just been a rough day for the U.S., and I would not want to not mention that on the show. Obviously, it's near and dear to our hearts here that our condolences go out to the families that are affected and have been affected over the years. Okay, let's get to it. So ATTOM Data, one of the leading data providers for the foreclosure data, dropped a new article today actually talking about how foreclosures continue to rise. Now, we know that's been the case for a while, and as we're loading the report, we've got a pretty good idea as to why foreclosures are rising, right? We talk about it a lot on this show, but interest rates are high, starting to trickle down, but still much higher than we want them to be. And the, I guess, less obvious consumer confidence is at an all-time low right now. This is particularly being driven today by the fact, you've got all this stuff going on in the political climate. Like, it's hard enough to focus on paying your bills, dealing with family stuff, the life that we have to lead without dealing with all this stuff happening to people we know and appreciate, and then, remembering the people that have died because of the conflict that's going on in the world. So it's a lot of moving parts right now, is it not? But when you look at the situation, a lot of people are surpassing the fact that there have been increases in U.S. foreclosure activity with double-digit annual growth, according to Rob Barber, the CEO at ATTOM Data. Now, it's important that we keep an eye on this because we're investors. We got to keep an eye on what's happening in the foreclosure market and know that right now the worst foreclosure rates were in states Nevada, South Carolina, and Florida. Nationwide, 1 in every 3,987 units had a foreclosure filing. In August of 2025, Nevada was again at the top of the list, 1 in every 2,069. South Carolina, 1 in every 2,152. And Florida coming in at 1 out of every 12 housing units. Okay, so it's happening, guys. We have a lot more filings going on in the foreclosure space, and a lot of people either understand or don't that Biden, when he was in office, put a moratorium on foreclosures in 2020, which was logical at the time. You don't want to foreclose on people while we're going through a massive economic shift where people aren't sure if they can work, so that made sense. They didn't really undo that until 2023, and they didn't really start the process of going in and the repossession process until about late 2024. I mean, mid to late 24 is when the filing started to kick in. Okay, so it's happening now that the foreclosure filings are taking place. They're starting to pick up, and we're seeing a big jump in foreclosures. We got foreclosure stops jumping over 17% overall year over year from last year to this year. So in real time, you know that more people are going to be in foreclosure soon because those starts are taking place right now. People who have been behind for a very long time. We're not talking about people who are recently late. We're talking about catching up with the people who have been late for some time. And now we're going to add the people who are unemployed, they're late right now on their mortgage payments and are going to be coming on the market as foreclosures. The combination of that backlog inventory plus the current inventory that's coming is going to be a behemoth of foreclosure activity. And we've seen this before in the 2007 and 2008 crisis. It's not our first rodeo with this, but it's important to anticipate where the market is going, not to act where it is now. Because when you buy a house, remember that one, you're operating on lagging indicators, meaning you're looking at the data from 3 months ago to make your purchase of today. Okay, that's problem number one. Problem number two is by the time you get the house done, generally a 4 to 8 week process, right? You're now another 2 months, maybe 3 if you have any construction delays before you're coming back onto the market. We target a 4 to 8 week turn time on construction, but the one thing we know about construction is it's consistently delayed. That's just the nature of the beast in that, okay? So you've got delay. So now you're hitting the market on lagging data from 3 months ago and adding 2 to 3 months of data to find out where you are today. And if there's a lot of foreclosure filings between now and then, you're going to see a lot of negative pull down on the overall price you can sell the house for. This is where a lot of my clients find themselves right at this moment. We have people who are in foreclosure deals. We brought them right, no doubt about it. Our analysis was solid. Sure, there were construction overages here to there. That's kind of part of the process, but we left a contingency for that. So that's not a big deal. Now that we're hitting the market, we're seeing that the buyer confidence is the lowest it's been in some time. And even our really well-priced properties are sitting around. They're languishing. I've got a condo on the market here in the Scottsdale market. I'll show it to you right now. We bought this place in the 183 bracket. We spent about $20,000 on the remodel to get it pretty and beautiful, as we always do. I've showed it to you on the show a couple of times, but I'm going to show it to you again here. And now it's listed, and it's a 1-bedroom, 1-bath. It is a smaller market that this appeals to, but it's also really, really inexpensive for something in Scottsdale, right? Which is difficult to buy for under $500,000, much less a condo in the 250s like this one is. And I think it came out really nice. There's a view of Camelback Mountain from the balcony. It's a prime piece of real estate. There's no doubt about it. And I believe, based on even recent comps, that this property is priced extremely accurately. Why is it sitting then? Because consumer confidence is low. Even with rates starting to trickle down just a little bit, a lot of people are struggling with the idea of buying a house with all the uncertainty in the job market and interest rates being high and the country just being in a state of fluctuations with all the stuff that's happening politically and socioeconomically. So the goal of the government is to offer that stability to the consumer, to give us some breathing room, to allow for people to see that now is an excellent time to buy. But the best way to create that breathing room is going to be to reduce the interest rates. We're expecting 2 Fed meetings in the relatively near future, where the next one, at least a 1/4 point is expected. It might go to a 1/2 point if they really understand how bad this market is right now. But in either case, the rates aren't what's really making people not buy. It really kind of comes down to consumer confidence. And that's going to come from a few months at least of stability where people can start feeling better. You got to remember the market and all markets operate a little bit on emotion. If the stock market made sense, it wouldn't do anything. Right? You can't really tell the value of a company day to day, much less minute by minute, right? Why does the stock market go up and down? Why is there that sentiment? Because you've got emotion tied to the market, right? That emotion is justified by facts and figures like interest rates and unemployment and sector trends and things of that nature. But ultimately, it's an emotionally driven market. That's what we're dealing with right now in the real estate space. Ultimately, it makes sense to buy right now because prices have come down a little bit, right? Rates have started to come down a little bit. If you're thinking logically, it's a better time to buy right now than it has been in some time. So where are these buyers? Why aren't they looking at this gorgeous condo that we painstakingly remodeled to make it a wonderful place to live for somebody, and now we still cannot get this property sold? What is going on? Consumer confidence is what's going on, guys. And that confidence is only going to get worse as you see more foreclosure filings hit the market. You're only going to see a decrease in the number of people who are interested in buying based on the fact that currently it's really hard to justify what's going to happen tomorrow, much less committing to a 30-year mortgage in this moment. So even in my business, I've had to pivot a little bit. We're now looking at other means of making, an income. I'm a mortgage broker anyway, so I got my mortgage license so I can do residential mortgages here in the Arizona market. So started there, but there's going to be a bit of a pivot in the area while people are kind of getting their footing underneath them. And then once that footing is there, I believe we will see a reprise in the real estate market led by interest rates, but not completely guided by interest rates. It's about the confidence today, and that lack of confidence is making it very difficult for people to want to pull the trigger on a real estate purchase in the moment. Okay, so as an investor, what should you be doing? Listen, guys, the key is to anticipate what's going to happen next. Okay, if we know there's going to be a ton of foreclosure filings, now is an excellent time to invest in the foreclosure profit system so it can help you to anticipate that part of the market. And as it comes around and there are more foreclosures out there and the buy side is already there, you're already in your first deal. So by the time you list the property, you're already getting a maximum return on that property, as opposed to waiting for this thing to come around, which so many people are doing right now. When it gets good again, we're going to hop in. Listen, I hear you. I appreciate the sentiment, but it's not the right move right now. The right move today is to start operating as if one day the market is going to go back to normal. And it has to, because that's just how markets work. And if you're operating under that consistency, you will be able to buy a deal today at a shockingly low price. The stuff that's on the market today is better than it's been in some time, which is going to put you in a great spot when this market fully recovers. How long are we talking? Listen, your guess is as good as mine, okay? But what we do know is that by fourth quarter, we should have a couple of those rate meetings, right? And because we've had a couple of the rate meetings, now we're dealing with, having people who are, already looking to get back into the market today. But when the rates drop, they're going to be incentivized. Man, I can get this for a little cheaper than I could before because now rates are a little bit lower. You should be getting out in front of that notion today, right? The opportunities in the market have never been as good as they are right now. And with all the foreclosure filings, and I'll just give you a real world example, okay? We put an offer in a HUD repo in the Arizona marketplace. Now, it was priced in the early fours, okay? We put this ridiculously low ball offer on the property, thinking there's absolutely no shot HUD was going to accept an offer at that number, okay? And we were right. For several months, nothing happened. And now, just yesterday, they came back and accepted this offer almost $100,000 below the asking price that it was listed at, because HUD is seeing the writing on the wall too. They want out of this property. They know how many foreclosures are coming up in their kitty right now, and they're looking to offload inventory. I can tell you that Warren Buffett said it best. He said the secret to his success was figuring out what other people are doing and doing the opposite. While everybody else is afraid, you should be taking this time to really get your systems dialed in, maybe not to pull the trigger on a deal unless it's absolutely stellar. But if you find something in this marketplace right now, it behooves you to get involved today because the market is shifting in the investor's direction. You can buy stuff much cheaper. The challenge is offloading them in the retail market because the consumer sentiment is lower than it's been in some time. Okay, so the conclusion is don't wait. You got to get started right now. And if that's something you want to talk about further, I'd love to hop on a call with you, whether it's just to discuss how we can finance a deal with you, right? Whether it's going to be conventional or hard money, we should be having conversations about how you can get into your next deal. If you've got some cash in an IRA right now that's not doing as well in the market as you'd like it to be doing, we could move that money into a deal that when the market turns around is going to offer you substantially higher returns that you're typically going to get from the stock market. Is there a risk associated with this? Of course there is. Anybody who tells you any investment vehicle is guaranteed is absolutely lying to you. But I can tell you that risk is mitigated by buying the property well. So the better you buy it, the higher the probability you're going to make money on the deal. How do you buy a great deal? You buy when nobody else is buying. Right? So when the market is soft like it is right now, this is the best time it's been in some time to hop out there and buy a deal. If you want to get started, okay, you're wondering, you just want to learn more about the system, have a conversation, hop on out to foreclosureprofitsystem.com. There's a little bit of a promo video there. No hardcore sales pitch here, okay? I only want to work with investors who are ready to pull the trigger based on data, not emotion. Okay, I don't want anybody who feels like the market's going to get better. You have to believe that the market has to improve at some point and be able to act accordingly with that belief system. Just like anytime you buy any investment, when you buy a stock or a bond or a mutual fund, you believe that the future value of that asset is better than the current value of that asset. Well, that's true of the real estate market for sure. What we don't know as clear right now is the time frame. So we don't need to jump into anything but an amazing deal today, but we do need to be looking at the market as a whole and going, man, is this as bad as it's going to get, or it even might get worse. You've got systems to set up, an LLC to structure, fundraising to do. There are a lot of pieces that you have to get started. It's a good lead time of a month or two before you're going to be able to get into your first deal. This is not a get-rich-quick thing where you're closing on a deal immediately. This is a long-term system where once you get it running, it's a money machine. You can print as many deals in it as you can afford to do, and you're going to want to do a lot of them if you're buying them accurately and putting the right system into it. But there's a construction system, there's a retail system. The foreclosure profit system covers all those pieces for you. So all you have to do is part with the money, but it is time to get those systems dialed in your market right now, because you want to have that active so you can start doing deals in the short term. All right, guys, that is kind of our show for today. I want to thank you guys for tuning in each and every single week to the Foreclosure Deals Coach podcast. We've got a lot of stuff happening in the marketplace today, and the smart buyers, the smart consumers are looking at the market objectively and going, now is the time to start investing in myself and the systems that I need to capitalize on the market of the future. If that describes you, hop on out to foreclosureprofitsystem.com. Let's have a conversation about your needs in the foreclosure market, and hopefully we can find a way to work together in the relatively near future to get you started in doing foreclosure deals before this huge wave of foreclosures that's coming on the market right now hits and you're left out in the cold. So we can do it. It's just a matter of getting your systems dialed in, and the foreclosure profit system will help you to get all those systems going. So all you've got to do is pull the trigger on the right deals at the right time so you can start making real money doing foreclosure deals. With that, this is Donnie Corum, your foreclosure deals coach. I want to thank you guys once again for tuning in each and every single week to the show, and remind you now and always, don't buy a house, buy a deal.